News as it happened, brought to you by our Patreon page, World War II on the air and in print. Follow the war through newspapers and pop culture one day at a time. A link is in the comments below. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and ring the bell. My name is Henry Chop, your correspondent. Now for the news, word for word, as it was written at the time it occurred. Berlin. Expansion of German fighting forces is a political necessity, Reichsfuhrer Adolf Hitler said tonight in his New Year's proclamation to the German people. Giving his slogan for the coming year as strengthening of the nation in all branches of its life, Hitler explained that this means internally strengthening and stealing, steeling, of Nazi education. Economically, the Fuhrer said it means a more energetic carrying through of the 4-year plan for economic independence. In the foreign field, politically, it means the expansion of forces, since we believe that in these disturbed times, only a powerful state can maintain for our people their most precious possession, namely peace. Tokyo. Maintenance of friendly relations between the United States and Japan was set forth as a cardinal policy for 1938 by the Japanese cabinet today in its annual New Year's greetings to the empire. Premier Prince Fumimaro Konoe said Japan's actions today had a worldwide effect, directly influencing the world for peace or war. Japan, he said, while trying to march ahead as peacefully as possible, would offer strong resistance to nations believing in the existing status. Communications Minister Ryotaro Nagai said he considered the Japanese must work for redistribution of the natural resources of the world, thereby preventing the majority of the world's population from falling into the depths of despair. Riga, Latvia. Soviet Russia tonight celebrated the close of another year of Joseph Stalin's dictatorship, a year marked by 4,200 executions, including those of statesmen, soldiers, and scientists, also hundreds of purges which resulted in the arrest and exile of more than 8,000 state officials. There were New Year's trees for children, sports carnivals for youths, and mass meetings throughout the country. Communist Party speakers at these gatherings told their listeners that 1938 would still be more joyous and happy for the inhabitants of Soviet Russia than 1937. Paris. Officials said tonight the French government had ordered a virtual embargo on armament shipments to Romania and Yugoslavia, long France's allies, because of their growing friendship with Italy and Germany. Members of the Chamber of Deputies discovered that Edouard Daladier, Minister of National Defense, had ordered suppression of government licenses for exportation of military supplies to those countries, quote, until further notice, unquote. This order, it was understood, was issued with the consent of the entire cabinet, which was said to be alarmed by the apparently pro-Nazi policies of Romania's new premier Octavian Goga and the increasingly close relations between Yugoslavia's premier Milan Stojanovic and Italy. Henday on the Franco-Spanish frontier. Insurgent Spain today celebrated the recapture of Teruel, which rebel leaders hailed as one of the most decisive defeats inflicted on the government in the Spanish Civil War, now in its 18th month. Government forces, which held the strategically vital provincial capital in eastern Spain since December 21st, were reported retreating to the south in confusion. The victorious insurgents, who smashed into the city in 3 columns yesterday, were said to be in complete control. A Spanish government communique issued late last night in Madrid declared government troops still held Teruel. Insurgent attempts to reoccupy the city were beaten back, it was said. The communique admitted mechanized rebel columns aided by aviation and artillery forced government forces to give ground outside the city. Barcelona dispatches said 40 armored cars, 3 big guns, and 100 trucks were stalled in snow drifts en route to Teruel to reinforce loyalist troops. Washington, D.C. With the approval of the president, an American naval rearmament program is in the making. Its scope may be projected into the message Mr. Roosevelt will read to Congress tomorrow or in the budget message he will transmit later. The program of additional construction of warships is expected to call for expenditures in the immediate future aggregating from $200 million to $1 billion. On Tuesday, the president called on Congress to consider authorization of the construction of 2 battleships, 2 light cruisers, 8 destroyers, and 6 submarines. Today, the Navy has 15 capital ships. By the end of the year, 7 of these will be obsolete under the 20 years of life naval experts give such vessels. Many Navy officers feel that construction should be started on 5 capital ships this year. New York. Politicians involved in the issuance of a fraudulent passport in the Rubins-Robinson Soviet spy mystery were told today to produce the passport sponsor within 48 hours or face prosecution. Investigators believe that the man who vouched for Adolf Arnold Rubins when passports were issued for Rubins and Mr. and Mrs. Donald L. Robinson can supply a solution of the enigma. The identity of this man is known, but it has not been revealed. Washington, D.C. A total of 10,870,000 persons were jobless in the United States in mid-November, John D. Biggers, administrator of the National Unemployment Census, reported to President Roosevelt today. The total is undoubtedly much larger today, Biggers admitted. His figures show only the effect of the early stages of the current business recession, often referred to as the Roosevelt Depression. Biggers suggested to the president that a further count could be made with the assistance of the Post Office Department to enumerate the thousands thrown out of work in the 6 weeks since the census was made. Washington, D.C. Senator Harry F. Byrd, Democrat, Virginia, coupled a statement today that he would support President Roosevelt's proposed reduction in the federal appropriation for roads with a demand that at the same time, quote, the extravagances and luxuries of government get the axe and buy a major operation, unquote. Since July 1st, he said, the federal government had spent $300 million more than in the same period last year, exploding, quote, the myth of spending ourselves into prosperity. We are spending as much or more than ever, and times are getting worse. Our revenue will not reach the estimates because of the business recession. I predict that the deficit for the fiscal year 1938 will be more than double the estimate made, unquote. Los Angeles, California. The ill-fated pleasure yacht Afgis, a voyage of piracy and terror, was engineered by a former convict with a long criminal record who was seized by a mad desire to emulate the swaggering rogues of Spanish Main days, federal agents revealed tonight. Jack Morgan, who shot and killed the yacht's owner, Dwight L. Foulding, and was later slain himself by fellow passengers, twice served prison sentences for rape and was sent to jail on other occasions for burglary and theft. California defeated Alabama 13-0 in the annual Tournament of Roses football game yesterday in the Rose Bowl at Pasadena, California, before 88,000 spectators. The East and West All-Star teams played a scoreless tie in their annual charity game at San Francisco. 58,000 attended this event. Here are the results and attendance of yesterday's other bowl games. The Sugar Bowl, Santa Clara 6, Louisiana State 0, 40,000 attended. The Cotton Bowl, Rice 28, Colorado 14, 37,000 attended. The Orange Bowl, Auburn 6, Michigan State 0, 18,000 saw that one. And the Sun Bowl, West Virginia 7, Texas Tech 6, and 13,000 saw that game. Whitesburg, Kentucky. Mrs. Jenny Ashley of Beaver Creek, who was married and became a mother when only a little more than 13 years old, has given birth to her 13th child. She is 32 years old and has 2 sets of twins. The husband, James Ashley, is 33, and he says, quote, I am proud of the start we are making, but 30 children is my goal, unquote. That was the news as it happened, brought to you by our Patreon page, World War II on the Air and in Print. A link is in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. This is Henry Chop, your correspondent. Good night. God bless.